Good evening, everyone. My name is Isaac Heschel, and I serve as the chairperson of the Community Action Board. Welcome. We greatly appreciate everyone who takes time out of their busy schedules to join us in continuing the important work we do to help the less fortunate people of this great city. So thank you all for joining us, and thank you all for the outstanding work you do throughout the year, helping so many people. It gives me great pleasure to ask our secretary, Susan Tenenbaum, to do the roll call.
And it will be my pleasure to do the roll call, Chairperson. Of course, I have a frog in my throat. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am about to call the roll, and I ask each of you to say present if you are indeed here.
Okay.
From the Office of City Council Speaker Adrian Adams, Tyrell Hankerson, or Lynette Shelbourne Barfield. From the Office of the Mayor's Community Affairs Unit, Valerie Vasquez. From the Office of New York State Assembly Member Jeffrey on Aubrey, Louise Emanuel.
Present.
Good evening, Louise.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thank you. From the Office of New York State Assembly Member Brian Cunningham, is anyone present? From Region 14, Brooklyn NDA 11, 13, and 15, Victoria Camarota Curto. From Region 16, Queens NDA 1, 8, and 9, Claudia Koger. From representing Region 4, Bronx NDA 7 and 8, Yesenia Cardona.
Present. Good evening.
Good evening, Yesenia. From Congregation B'nai Abraham, Chairperson Isaac Heschel.
Present.
Good evening, Chairperson. Representing Region 2, Bronx NDA 3 and 4, Cynthia Cox. NAB Chairperson, Representative Manhattan and Staten Island, Ileana De La Rosa.
Present.
Oh, good evening, Ileana.
Good evening.
Apologies. Of course, I have no water next to me either.
Susie, did you call me? Sorry.
Not yet, not yet. You're coming
Oh.
up. Yeah. From the Office of Staten Island Borough President Vito J. Fosella, do we have a representative? From Doc Go Incorporated, Second Vice Chairperson Gregory Hambrick.
Present. Good evening, Susie.
Good evening, Greg. From the Office of Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson, Nelson Palacios or Angel Gao Jr. Okay. From the Office of New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, Stephanie Kampanha Wheaton. From the Office of Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine, Marielle Ali. Representing Region 6, Bronx NDA 11 and 12, Grace Lavaglio. Representing Region 18, Queens NDA 12 and 14, Walter Jones. Representing Region 15, Brooklyn NDA 14 and 17, Parliamentarian Rhonda Joseph. Representing Region 12, Brooklyn NDA 3, 8, and 9, Wayne King. Representing Region 17, Queens, 3, 4, and 7, Paul Mai. Representing City Council District 1, the Honorable Christopher Marte. Is there a representative? From Morris Heights Health Center, Gideon Dunkley.
Present.
Good evening, Gideon.
Good evening, all.
From Neighborhood Housing Services of Staten Island, Joseph Pierre. Joseph here.
Not yet.
Representing Region 10, Brooklyn 1, 2, and 4, Clevis Pena. Okay. Representing Region 3, Bronx 5 and 6, Diletta Pina.
That's Dijeta, and I'm here.
Dijetta, apologies, and
No
thank you for the
problem.
correction. Okay. Welcome. Representing State Senator Roxanne Persaud, Sandy Miller.
I'm here.
Good evening, Sandy.
Good evening, everyone.
Representing Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso, Donovan Swanson.
Here.
Hello, Donovan. Representing Queensborough President Donovan Richards Jr., Secretary Susie Tannenbaum, that's me. Representing Region 8, Manhattan 9 and 12, Jackie Rowe Adams.
Present.
Good evening, Jackie. Good to hear your voice. City Council Member Althea Stevens, Representative Caitlin Connolly.
Present.
Good evening, Caitlin. From St. Francis College, Robert Oliva or Tirani Street.
Wait until September.
Okay. Derek Tate is excused. Representing Region 9, Manhattan 10 and 11. Representing Region 13, Brooklyn, NDA 5 and 16, Christopher Toomer.
Present.
Good evening, Christopher. Representing City Council Member Sandra Ong, Shane Miller, and Jin Wu.
Present. Shane.
Good evening, Shane. Representing UJA Federation of Jewish Philanthropies, New York City, third Vice Chairperson Ariel Savransky.
Present.
Good evening, Ariel. From United Neighborhood Houses, Nora Moran. From United Parcel Service, Janet DeLugos or Brian Clark.
Hi, good evening, Present. This is Janet.
Good evening, Janet. Representing Region 19, Staten Island, first Vice Chairperson Linda Walters.
Present.
Good evening, Linda.
Good evening.
And from Region 7, Bronx 9, Justin Westbrook Lowry. And from New York City, the Office of the New York City Public Advocate, Jumani Williams, Elizabeth Kennedy.
Present.
Oh, good evening, Elizabeth. And that is the roll.
My name,
I'm sorry. My name is Wayne King.
Wayne.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I have you're welcome. I have a minor emergency, but I wanted to check in and be here.
Okay, thank you. Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, so we have 20. 20, no, not yet. We just need 3 more.
Susie, good evening.
Oh, look, here it's Claudia Koger.
And Victoria is here.
Yes.
Yes, I was on. I
Great.
just didn't hear. For a second, I had left the computer.
Okay,
Claudia
welcome,
Koger.
welcome. Okay,
So, and Victoria.
I have been here since like 5:50, so
got
I
it.
thought I saw you before.
yes.
One. We'll have it. see, can we go? We can ask Ardis to do her report,
Okay.
and
good
then we
idea
can vote later.
by the time.
Yeah.
I know that we have the agenda before us, but due to the fact that so far we don't have quorum, we're going to move things around a bit for the sake of everyone's time. So we're going to skip down to the financial program quarterly report. And I'm going to ask Ardis Sanmoogan, who always gives a clear, concise report, to give her quarterly report. Good evening, Ardis.
Hi, hello, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I am going to share my screen, and then I will make the financial report, and I will also say a brief statement on the recent single audit that DYCD went through. I'm now sharing my screen. Why can't I share my screen? Oh, I should select share. Can folks see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So this is the final report that will cover city fiscal year 23, but it's not the end of the financial gathering for 2023.
Could you all mute your? Could you mute yourself if you're not speaking so that Ardis can give us the report? Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Thanks all. So yes, as I was saying, even though this is the final report we're going to be doing for the city fiscal year 23, it is not how we will close the city fiscal year. So I will give an overview of the program and our spending and payments, and then do a comparison of where we were the last time I made this report at the last meeting in April. So for 2023, we have a CSBG budget of just under $39 million. And CSBG funds in DYCD are allocated among three main areas. The bulk of it is in the program contract section. The smallest part is in the other contractual services section. And then DYCD personal services rounds it out. For the program contract section, which represents 81% of the budget, we have we have money over a few different programs. We have the NDA development group with a budget of $14.6 million. And that group has 8 subcategories of programs. The service for immigrant families has a budget of $590,000. We have $2.1 million that's allocated to the legal services programs that are currently housed at HRA, but starting in 2024, those programs will come back to DYCD. New York City Adult Literacy Initiative has a budget of just over $500,000. The Fatherhood Initiative has a budget of $2.8 million. Adolescent literacy is just over $825,000. And SYP, which is the largest, is coming in at $10.2 million. So the sum of those program contracts totals $31.6 million. And as I said before, it represents 81% of the CSBG funding. For our expenses, this data was run on the 6th of June, so it does not include any May data. The expenses here are through the months of July through April, which is 10 months of the city fiscal year. And overall expenses in the program contracts is at 65%, with SYP coming in at 100% because that program has ended. And the lowest is the HRA legal service contracts, and highlights why we want this program back at DYCD rather than HRA, because their spending is a lot lower than our programs. But the next highest after the SYP program is NICALI at 67%, followed by fatherhood and adult literacy, both coming in at 64%. Services for immigrant families is at 60%, and NDA is at 49%. And the NDA is much lower than the others primarily because this is the first year of the RFP. And for the first year of any RFP, our providers take some time getting set up and starting the work that they're doing. From a payments perspective, we have $22.5 million. And for folks who have been attending the meeting on a regular basis, would have seen that the difference between the amounts between our expenses and our payments was much wider at the start of the city fiscal year, but now the difference is just about $2 million. So we are in the process of recouping the advances we have given to our providers at the start of the city fiscal year. The balance that's to be vouchered based on the budget and expenses is just over $9 million. I'm now going to focus my attention on the other contractual services. And these are categories of expenses that supplement and provides capacity building to the direct services in the program contract sections. So our biggest allocation is for technical assistance. We have a budget of $1.6 million. We have year-to-date expenses of just under $800,000, which represents 48% of the budget. Our fiscal field reviews has a budget of $193,500. We have expenses of $72,900. Some of the smaller areas are AOTPS, such as marketing, publications, employee development, recruitment, travel, and technology. And overall, those sums represent $161,000 and with expenses of just over $20,000. The stipends for your team and the NAB team has a budget of $50,000. To date, we have expenditures of just over $4,500. And finally, in the other contractual services group, we have our essential insurance program with a budget of $132,000 and expenses of $53,531. Overall, the auto contractual services with a budget of $2.2 million has a spending rate to date of 43%. And as I've said before, auto contractual service, there are no advances to these vendors, so expenses and payments are exactly the same. And for the final component of the CSBG budget, we have DYCD fiscal services, which is $5.2 million. Year to date, we have expenditures of $3.7 million, which is 73% of that budget. So overall, for the $39 million budget, we have expenses of 65%, which represents $25.4 million, and we've paid out $27.2 million, which is 70% of that budget. And if we do a comparison of where we were when we last met in April, our program contract expenses has grown by 16%. At that time, our expenses to our program contracts was $17.8 million. Today, we have $20.7 million, which is a difference of $2.9 million. And again, it's 16% compared to the last time we met. Auto contractual services has a 47% increase from the last time we met, from $636,000 to $937,000, which represents just over $300,000 increase. And our personal services increased by $1.3 million, which represents 53%, from $2.5 million to $3.7 million. So overall, our expenses have continued to grow. And when I said I started this meeting, I started my report, that this is not how the year will end. Starting, oh my word, in 2 or 3 weeks, it's already July already. DYCD, along with other city agencies, will start what's called the year-end close activities, where we will be projecting what our expenses will be for all of our program areas. And for the CSBG portfolio, we usually have a projection of about 97%. So whereas right now we have a spending rate of 65%, we expect that will grow by an additional 20% when we close the city fiscal year and when we set up accruals so that expenses can keep coming in after we've closed the city fiscal year. So that is the report. I'm happy to answer any questions folks may have.
Hi, this is Gideon Dunkley. Thank you for that excellent report. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
have
Gideon.
one small question, and that is, did you ever share a copy of the audited financial statements with the board? And is there a variance analysis comparing actual versus budgeted so that we can see exactly where there's any major differences?
Anita has submitted has included the single audit in the most recent list of documents that were sent out. Am I right, Anita?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I'm sorry. And when you talk about a variance, are you talking about variances between the audits?
No, I'm talking about variance between actual versus budget and the audit report that was sent out. Was this a audited financial statement by an independent auditor or an internal auditor?
Oh, so the DYCD is part of the city's single audit process, where the city hires an independent auditor, and that auditor selects different federal funding sources among different city agencies to audit every year. In city fiscal year 21 and in city fiscal year 22, CSBG was chosen to be audited. So we were audited, CSBG was audited 2 years in a row.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hi, everybody. This is Grace.
Hi, Grace.
I'm sorry I'm late. Just want to let you know I'm here.
Yeah, we saw you come in, Grace.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Ardis?
I would like to piggyback on Gideon's question.
Mhm.
Ardis, how are
Hi.
you? Wonderful presentation as always. Did you mention that that DYCD that they opted to do a second audit, an audit in 2 consecutive years? Is that what you just said?
The CSBG was chosen to be audited in 2 consecutive years, correct?
Can you tell us why that is?
Great question, Susie. In city fiscal year 21, DYCD was selected. We had not been selected in 20. We were selected in 2019, but in 2021, the CSBG was selected. And in that year, that was the year that CSBG received 2 buckets of CSBG funding, the regular CSBG funding and the stimulus funding called CSBG Cares. The finding from the 2021 audit, we received a finding for the first time in a long time for CSBG. We received a finding to the effect that our records for our participants did not meet the regulations of the federal government for the sample that was selected. And DYCD was disallowed $9,640 based on that finding. So generally, if a grant is audited in 1 year and it has a finding, it's also audited the next year. And that's why we were audited 2 years in a row. However, for the 2022, there were no findings. And I'm about to read to you the statement that I'm required to read for every single audit. Once I've answered everybody's questions.
I appreciate the explanation. I had no idea.
Yes.
Thanks. Yep.
Yeah, we were not happy to have a finding, but we always learn from these things.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ardis, for your report.
May I now read, if there are no more questions, I need to read a statement on the FY22 single audit so that it's in your board meetings, minutes.
Yes, Ardis,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right, great. DYCD's federal programs that were audited in city fiscal year 22 single audit consisted of the WIOA Youth Community Services Block Grant and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. I'm pleased to report that DYCD did not have any findings for the city's single audit for city fiscal year 22. You can find the details on page 291 that was included in your board package of the city fiscal year 22 single audit report, which indicates that corrective actions were implemented for city fiscal year 21 single audit report that involved CSBG CARES Act funding utilized for the city's Learning Labs program created in response to COVID-19. That's the end of my statement.
Great.
Thank you, Ardis.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, bye.
Now that we have quorum, we can entertain a motion to accept the financial report.
Yeah, Gideon Dunkley, so move.
Gideon, thank you. Seconded by
Donovan Swanson.
Donovan. Thank you for the second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. We'll circle back. There was no board correspondence for this meeting. In your package, there was the minutes for the April 20th meeting, the previous meeting. And I will now entertain a motion to accept the minutes of that meeting. Motion to accept.
Gideon again.
Gideon, thank you. Seconded by
Seconded by
Linda.
Jetta Pina.
Linda. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. The CAB calendar of meetings for the fiscal year 2024 is also in the board packet. And I will entertain a motion to accept the calendar for fiscal year 2024. Motion to accept.
I motion to accept Chris Toomer.
Second, Jackie Rowe Adams.
Jackie Rowe Adams, thank you. And Mr. Toomer as the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to ask the Associate Commissioner for Community Development, Ron Zhang, to give the Commissioner's report. Commissioner?
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, all, and welcome. I'm pleased to give you the Commissioner's report today. So I will start with, there's an echo there. I'll start with DYCD in general, and then I'll report on specific community development divisions, activities, and events. So as I reported previously, transition of MOCJ, Office of Neighborhood Safety Programs, is ongoing at DYCD. DYCD is actively working to transfer all active contracts between MOCJ, ONS, and their providers. The next is our community needs assessment. The CNA report will summarize the community needs surveys collected from New Yorkers last year. DYCD is providing feedback to policy studies associates on the CNA draft report. PSA will revise the report based on our feedback and provide the final report and the static dashboards. We anticipate the data will be ready for presentations during the summer, and before mid-September, DYCD will review with the CAB all the findings from that survey. So we'll look forward to sharing that with you all. And you must have heard DYCD's borough-based satellite offices. As part of the strategy to raise public awareness about our agency, we are opening satellite offices at select cornerstone centers and other convenient locations in all 5 boroughs. The first satellite office opened at Johnson Community Center in East Harlem, in East Harlem, and with more on the way. In Brooklyn, we have Ingersoll Community Center and the High School for Civil Rights in progress, and others are being identified and set up. So those offices will serve as sort of like an outpost in boroughs for DYCD staff, to work from those offices, make it easier for community residents to actually, share, ideas, report on, whatever to our staff. So it will be great. And I've been here for so many years, and this is the first time, we're going to have satellite offices. And SYEP. So far, we have received 175,003 applications to date for this season, with 88,050 currently enrolled in the program. Summarizing, received roughly 139,000 applications during the enrollment period. Applicants received enrollment information on Friday, May 12th. Approximately 94,000 placements were communicated to families. So that's, the overall, news around DYCD. Now I'm going to come to CD specific activities and events. I'll start with community development and restructure. So one of Commissioner Howard's priorities is to strengthen DYCD's presence in the communities through commissioner site visits, DYCD borough teams, and satellite offices. As I reported at the last meeting, each DYCD division has undergone restructuring to assign program managers to borough teams, which consists of borough managers, NDA leads, and NAB liaisons. Borough teams will develop connections to each other with other DYCD divisions and with city agencies and neighborhood groups to coordinate activities. The borough managers and NDA leads will also function as a community response team to help address borough and geographical issues and resources needed on behalf of community development. We also have dedicated community engagement staff meet with DYCD borough teams regularly, discuss neighborhood challenges, identify resources, connect with neighborhood coalitions to plan and to participate in events. The Community Development Division recognizes our collective efforts to alleviate the conditions of poverty, align with the efforts to promote public safety. CD is working closely with our ONS team and our new strategic partnerships division to identify opportunities to rally our providers and other relevant stakeholders, as well as leverage the very valuable services they provide. CD has partnered with youth town halls and community coalitions, which engage community members within 6 NYPD precincts DYCD has targeted for focused intervention because they contribute to the highest gun violence citywide. Those are the, let me see, these 6 precincts are 75, 73, 40, 42, 44, and 47. So to maximize impact, on May 15th, we convened our NABs in these precincts and shared with them information about these targeted precincts and discussed implementation strategies for promoting community development and public safety. Just a quick update on the NDA RFP reissue. On June 14th, we had our pre-proposal conference for the NDA RFP reissue. It was for 3 program areas, as I mentioned last time: immigrant services, application assistance, safety awareness, crime prevention, and economic development. The proposals from proposers are due next month. Now, this year, DYCD hosted in both virtual and in-person modalities its annual New York Fatherhood Convening in recognition of affirming fatherhood, building stronger families and safer communities. The in-person event was held on June 2nd at SUNY Queens EOC. More than 20 interactive workshops were available for over 150 attendees to connect with fatherhood leaders, gain inspiration, and receive resources and support. It was a great event and very well welcomed and attended. The next big event we had was Community Moms and Dads. On June 13th, DYCD hosted our inaugural Community Moms and Dads event at Gracie Mansion, celebrating parents as well as caregivers who provide inspiration and support to families and communities. This event was created to spotlight New Yorkers who are making a significant contribution through community involvement, volunteerism, leadership, and personal accomplishments. Whether volunteers, mentors, teachers, community leaders, healthcare staff, essential workers, caregivers, aunts, uncles, sisters, or brothers, the 27 honorees dedicated their time and energy to the physical, social, and emotional well-being of New York City. The mayor was there, he spoke and congratulated the honorees. Next item is English language classes at the city's HERCs. New York City Health and Hospitals, in coordination with DYCD and one of our ESL providers, Riseboro Community Partnership, had a press event at the Watson, one of the HERC sites in Manhattan. The event showcased DYCD's ESL services. The ESL class instructor from Riseboro and the ESL students provided a demonstration class which were observed by the event participants and the press. So it was a great event. It was on the news after that. Next item is the New York State Empire State Development Connect All and Affordable Connectivity Program. So on May 24th, Community Development Division hosted a digital equity planning conversation with the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation, OTI. DYCD shared our insights concerning digital needs and gaps for our program participants. OTI will convey our concerns along with those raised by 20 other city agencies when they report back to New York State Empire State Development to help advance the state's plans under the Digital Equity Act. CD will continue with help from New York City OTI, NISCA, and others to scout for affordable connectivity program funding opportunities. Spring into Health. The overall purpose of this campaign, as you know, is strengthen support and mobilize neighborhoods to improve community health by providing an area of holistic services across city DYCD funded programs. And you will hear more in the upcoming presentation with Senior Director Ebony Jordan Wilson and our NAB and CAB liaison Mitch Noel. You're very familiar with National Night Out Against Crime, which is going to be in August. So NABLU, the unit, will again lead the National Night Out Against Crime campaign. As in previous years, NABLU will assist NABs in collaborating with local NYPD precincts to set tables at events, bringing awareness of DYCD programs and services and NABs and their work. Our objective is to host 41 events simultaneously. The last item is news on the NAB and CAB liaison unit. Unit has participated in DYCD Strategic Partner Future Giants Initiative at the West Harlem Community Development Corporation. The event included many area program providers, and the NAB unit spoke with upwards of 50 people. Staff also participated in 3 youth town halls with Mayor Adams, 2 in the Bronx and 1 in Brooklyn. Staff tabled at the Bronx District Attorney's March Against Gun Violence. And at this moment, staff are working on a triennial review for accountability and compliance with standards, also known as TRACS, for Department of State review in mid-September. As you know, this is a process by which DYCD demonstrates it meets the national organizational standards for public community action agencies, as well as the many indicators of excellence. And we will we'll be happy to to share the findings, I mean the review, and also eventually the report with you. Let's see. Okay, good news. Happy to announce that NAB and CAB liaison Lily Dasgupta had a baby girl on June 1st. Mother and daughter are doing well. And also NAB CAB liaison Stuart Davis has left DYCD for another position with New York City Service. We are working to backfill the position shortly, and thank him for his contributions while a part of the team. And at this point, the unit is interviewing 2 summer youth employment program interns that will work from July through August. And we're gonna have, within our unit, we're gonna have 11 summer youth interns working with us. So that'll be a great opportunity for those young people, to gain real work experience and learn about the workplace. And we look forward to working with them. That's it for the commissioner's report. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Commissioner. We greatly appreciate your report. Does anyone have any questions for the commissioner?
Hi, Commissioner. This is Gideon Dunkley. Thank you for that excellent report. In terms of the digital equity, are there plans to have workshops, ongoing workshops that deal with helping people access the internet, given the day and age that we're in right now, where technology is on the forefront of everything that we do, including the coming CBDC, which is central bank digital currency, which will be coming pretty soon. Is there any plans or in the works that will enhance some of our participants, our programmers, to help the community to become more savvy when it comes towards the internet access?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a very good question. I mean, we always realize how important it is for equitable, access to the internet, which is, a source for almost everything these days. At our different program areas, we do everything that we can to, have staff become, well equipped with this knowledge and skills, and also the participants. Just to give you an example, in our upcoming, adult literacy and adolescent literacy RFP, we specifically emphasized the digital literacy skills in the programming, and specifically in adolescent literacy program. And that program basically is going to be a digital literacy program with participants developing electronic portfolios through the use of, various technological, resources, internet being one of the major ones. So they're going to learn how to, access different information, analyze information, be able to put information to use to their advantage and all that. So there will be lots of training for staff and for participants. Yes, I mean, there is just training on technology has been an ongoing effort here through our TA providers, through DYCD staff. Just a simple example, DYCD, has last few years, developed our own database systems of Discover DYCD, all this in order to make good use of this. We have, all around kind of training for the CVO staff to make sure that they are able to access this. I think the more important question right now is really, being able to afford, the internet, the services for the low income communities, right? So that's why, we've been trying to have different conversations with both at the federal and the city level to see if there is funding opportunities for us to actually help people, gain, better access to not the devices, but also the internet.
Okay, one last follow-up question. Since you mentioned the fact that you have a
We lost you.
Lost it, yeah.
Lynette raised her hand. Lynette, please go ahead.
Thank you. I apologize. I'm on the ferry. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Commissioner?
Yes.
Yes. So, Commissioner, I have one follow-up question. I'm sorry. Since you have an in-house database system, have you been utilizing ChatGPT or Bard, Google Bard?
Oh, that's
The city.
I mean, at the agency level, I don't think we have really, had any conversation about that, but I'm pretty sure on a personal level, people are experimenting that.
I just want to tell you this. I just took a course on ChatGPT for accountants, believe it or not.
Oh.
Okay.
We have another question.
Yes,
Lynette,
go ahead. I'm
please.
sorry. I didn't mean to take up your time. Thank you.
Lynette, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you? Oh, great. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for the report, and thank you for the data on the SYP and summarizing. With that information, I noted that you shared there were 175 plus applicants with 88,000 enrolled. I just want to ask, I have met a few young people that are still looking to register their unemployed for the summer. Is there any potential that SYP will allow for late application? Any possibility?
Your audio is not that great. I think you're saying that there is, a few young people that are still looking for placement.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. I would, so because, SYP is managed by another program area, I would ask that you email that to us and we can, definitely, pass that on to our workforce development unit to get back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. And so with that question, and maybe it also will go to the agency, but how will you, what does it look like in terms of the process of fulfilling placement with the remaining applicants? What's the process like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lynette, they're working on it. They're still bringing in, I don't know how many slots they have, but Commissioner Zhang is correct. If you send us an email with all of your questions, we will pass it on to Sarah Whitney, who presented at the Strategic Partnerships meeting a while back. They're in the middle of placing SYP participants. Yay.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry if I was a little off topic, but okay. I thought maybe there's
Not
something
off
wrong
the topic.
with the answer.
Yeah.
No,
just-
I know you wanted people, youth that hadn't applied during the application period.
Yeah,
I don't
because we
think,
get the call.
I don't
from-
think they're going to be taking anybody new unless people drop, I would say, unless people drop out.
Okay, thank you so much.
So,
Thank you, no problem.
but I think they have avenues of other employment opportunities. So they can answer
Okay,
the
thank you.
question
I'll
better
send
than
an
us.
email. Okay, I'll follow up.
Thank you. Any other questions for the commissioner? We will now entertain a motion to accept the commissioner's report. Motion to accept,
Motion to accept by Linda.
Linda, thank you. Seconded by,
Seconded by Donovan.
Donovan, thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Bye.
Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Thank you very much. The executive committee met on May 18th. The meeting began at 6:17. The committee approved the CAB full agenda for this meeting. The committee approved the calendar for fiscal year 2024. We reviewed the governance committee, program committee, and strategic partnership committee reports. And there was no old business or new business to discuss. So the meeting was adjourned at 6:38. It gives me great pleasure to ask our dear Linda Walters to present the governance committee report. Linda?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi. Good evening. Wednesday, May 17th. The meeting began at 6 p.m. with 9 CAB members present and 5 DYCD staff members. CAB vacancies. The public sector is filled. However, Staten Island Borough President Vito Fasella has yet to send a representative to the CAB. The low-income sector has 5 vacancies, and all are in the process of candidate search. Those vacancies are as follows. Region 1, NDA Bronx 1 and 2. Region 7, NDA Manhattan 3. Region 11, NDA Brooklyn 7, 10, and 12. NAB Chairperson Representative Bronx/Queens, and NAB Chairperson Representative Brooklyn. Anita, you want to add something to that, or?
No.
Okay.
No, that's good.
Okay. CAB attendance. There were 2 absences as of the April 20, 2023 meeting. Moving along, CAB officers. Hopefully, I'm gonna try not to mess up the last name. Grace Lavaglio. Lavio, sorry. Region 6, NDA 11 and 12 has nominated herself as CAB secretary. Great. The governance committee slate of candidates are as follows. Chairperson Isaac Heschel. First Vice Chair Greg Hambrick. Second Vice Chair Arias Savavansky. Third Vice Chairperson Susan Tannenbaum. Secretary Grace Lavagrio. And parliamentarian, I have to say that a couple of times. Parliamentarian Rhonda F. Joseph. At the June 22nd CAB in full meeting,
The board will also accept nominations from the floor, after which the vote for officers will begin. Okay, now I'm gonna go, okay. The meeting was adjourned. Motion to adjourn was made by Jackie Roel Adams, second by Delita Pina. Delita Pina, and sorry, passed unanimously by the committee. The meeting ended at 6:13 p.m. The new members' orientation began after the governance committee meeting was adjourned. Okay, now I'm gonna go and read.
Linda, before we continue, we need to vote on the governance committee report. And after the motion of accepting your report, then you will continue. So I will now entertain a motion to accept the governance committee report. Motion to accept.
So
Jackie
moved.
Rowe
Gideon
Adams.
Dunkley.
Okay. Second,
Who, Gideon? Thank you for the first. Who seconded?
Jackie.
Jackie Rowe Adams. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Thank you. Election of
Okay.
officers. Linda, please proceed.
Thank you. Can y'all still hear me? Yes, I can. The
Yes.
following is the CAB slate of officer candidates. Isaac Heschel, chairperson. Gregory Hambrick, vice chairperson. Ariel Saravansky, second vice chairperson. Susan Tannenbaum, third vice chairperson. Grace Lavigrio, secretary, and Rhonda Joseph, parliamentarian. Before we vote, are there any nominations from the floor? Okay, there's no nominations from the floor.
Right.
All those in favor of this slate of officers, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Sorry, any opposed? Say no. Any abstentions? Say abstain, sorry. Okay, with the majority in favor, the vote passes. Congratulations to all new executive board who will take office right after the end of this meeting. Does
Linda,
anybody have anything to say? Okay.
Linda,
Congratulations, guys.
thank you very much, Gideon. Linda, thank you very much for the
You're
outstanding
welcome.
job. We are sorry that your term has come to an end to be part of the executive committee. I know that you'll still be attending the next meeting, but the executive committee, and I speak on behalf of all of us, thank you for your dedicated service and for being the inspiration that you were to all of us. So thank you very much, Linda.
You're welcome, and believe me, the feeling is mutual in terms of me learning from you all and being inspired by you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I want to congratulate the members of the executive committee. I'd like to welcome our new secretary, Grace Lavaggio, to the executive board. We appreciate you joining and being an integral part of this board. So thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure to work with the other members of the executive committee, and I congratulate them for their new positions. And they have a proven track history of doing outstanding work regardless what position they were in. And I'm sure they're going to continue in their new positions. So thank you very much. I will now ask for the program committee report. I'm happy that our dear friend Greg is on vacation. I mean, he's joining us via phone, but he won't be presenting the report. Greg, wherever you are, I hope you're well and having a great time. And with that being said, Anita will present the report. Anita?
Good evening, everyone. The program committee met on Wednesday, May 11th, and we had a lot of CAB members and many more NAB members join us because the presentation was on results-oriented management and accountability, otherwise known as ROMA. And that is how our programs and DYCD functions. So Cortez Stallings, Deputy Director of DYCD Community Action Programs, did the training. And it's sponsored annually by the program committee every May. So for those of you who missed it, next May, we will do it again. Mr. Stallings began the training by stating that the NAB and CAB members are a vital part of the Community Services Block Grant Program and ROMA. And he thanked the members for partnering with DYCD to assure that the most vulnerable New Yorkers receive the much needed sustaining services. Then Mr. Stallings listed some of the details of the programs and gave some historical information on how ROMA began and reference to big business icons, Peter Drucker and others, for management theories that are still in use today and are applied to social services. ROMA is the national standard for all community action agencies and community-based organizations that receive federal community services block grant funding. This training included how can ROMA help us to be better NAB or CAB members? How can you identify the elements of a mission statement and help DYCD to deliver on its mission? How ROMA framework can inform DYCD's community needs assessment process, how to identify the needs in each NAB and use these needs to establish funding priorities. How to determine the difference between outputs and outcomes and how outcome thinking will help you focus on results. How the increase in accountability on the national level impacts DYCD's role. Mr. Stallings led a lively and interactive training. Nobody wanted to go home. We were here till 8:30 in the morning, not 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 at night for that 2-hour training. So he expertly tied ROMA to the recent proposal evaluations and the 2022 community needs assessment. The link to the recording and the PowerPoint will be sent out to all board members. All CAB members, once again, are encouraged to attend when it's offered again next year. And that's my report.
Thank you, Anita. Any questions on the report? I will now entertain a motion to accept the program committee report. Motion to accept?
I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mario.
Thank you, Anita. And excuse me for my hand took a while to be raised on Zoom. If I recall correctly, I attended the training and I really, really enjoyed it. If I recall correctly, I understand that there may be an opportunity to participate in the in-person training. I believe it's like 2 to 3 days or something. Is that something that's still possible?
It is. We have to know what the schedule is first so that we can let you know. And if will be room in the training, but we will talk with Mr. Stallings and also Ebony Jordan Wilson, who is the Senior Director of our Community Action Programs, and see when that's possible, and we will let all the CAB members know. Mr. Stallings has also offered to have a part 2 at the program committee meeting in August. Is our first program committee meeting. He said there was a part that he really didn't get a chance to even touch on. So I'm going to work with him so that he can do that. So everybody's invited to that. And it doesn't matter if you saw the first part or not. These modules, they work together and you'll be able to understand. So we'll let you know that's upcoming.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
We'll entertain a motion now to accept the program committee report. Motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
Victoria,
Yes.
thank you. Seconded by
Ileana.
the letter. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. I will now ask Ariel Sobransky to be so gracious and give the strategic partnership report. Ariel?
Thank you. So we met on May 11th. We talked about NAB membership and recruitment. Right now we have 231 vacancies out of 492. Elected officials, we have filled 68 seats out of 160. DYCD has filled 193 seats and only has 71 vacancies. So definitely making progress in that area. We talked about the community needs assessment. I know the commissioner mentioned that we would get a report on that in September. We talked about some upcoming events, or they were upcoming at the time. They've passed already, but the Spring into Health and the Affirming Fatherhood Conference, I know a number of you participated in both of those. And then we wrapped up. So pretty quick update.
Ariel, thank you. Any questions for Ariel? I will now entertain a motion to accept the Strategic Partnership Committee report. Motion to accept.
I accept.
Victoria, thank you. Seconded by
Second, Villeta.
the letter. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? Anyone abstaining? So moved. Thank you. It gives me great pleasure now to ask Ebony Jordan Wilson, the Senior Director of NDA Initiative and Community Action Programs, to present together with Mitch Noel.
Good evening, everyone. All right. Ebony Jordan Wilson, Senior Director for our NDA Community Action Programs. So tonight we're going to talk to you about Spring into Health. Next slide, please. All right, so just a little bit of history on Spring into Health. I know I've presented on this before. I'm sure you all have heard about it. So since 2016, DYCD has hosted an annual Spring into Health campaign designed to promote health insurance and healthcare access to DYCD funded programs. Spring into Health has served as a vehicle to assist us in operationalizing an overall effort to promote healthcare access and well-being across all of our programs. Next slide. All right, so every year we have a theme. And you know, based on this year, what we did was basically looked at some of the health profiles across the city to see what was the most pressing you know, challenges and issues that most neighborhoods face. And so this year our campaign focused on workforce, safety and wellness, advocacy, and of course activation, right? Healthy living. Next slide, please. So our activities included anything from healthcare access. We have Metro Plus, from blood pressure screening to mammograms, to yoga, Zumba, like a whole variety of activities. And so most of our programs that have been doing this since 2019 and 2016 and prior to that, they basically decide what vendors they want, what activities they want. And so all across the city, each community did something a little different. Right. Next slide, please. All right, so this year's campaign started on April 15th, and it went all the way until June 21st, which is today. But we actually have a few events happening on Saturday, the 24th, as well as some of the other events happening in July that was had to postpone due to either rain dates or the increased poor air quality we experienced 2 weeks ago. So a few had to be rescheduled. Overall, throughout the city, we had 93 Spring into Health events. We've already had about 90 so far. Over 100 programs participated, over 600 city, state, and private vendors. So huge campaign. This is our biggest campaign yet. And so we have some preliminary data, but I think this year is going to be our highest numbers to date. We've already surpassed the amount of community folks that have come out and participated in the different events. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mitch Noel to talk about the NAB activation. Take it away, Mitch.
All right, hi everybody. Next slide, please, Dave. So this year, NAB was activated, and we have a total of 31 NAB out of 41 NABs agreed to have or partner with other organizations to host a Spring into Health. And out of that, we have completed so far 25 Spring into Health. And with some of them coming very soon, as Ebony stated. And out of that, we have attendees so far. It's about 1,965 attendees so far, and we're still counting some new members. Next slide. And also we collected about 30 applications overall that we're still working on. The goal for this year was 10,000 New Yorkers. We have 90 events have already completed, as Ebony stated, and so far, without the NABs, we have about 8,897 and counting. And then for June 30th, this is one of the biggest, that's the signature event where we bring in the entire city together in one place on one time, where we're going to be at Holland Park, June 30th. The event flyer is already out. There will be buses available. If you are interested or anybody interested, you can reach out to either one of us. We'll send you out. We will send out the flyer where you can sign up, or anybody else who want to join in. Next, Dave. Pretty much, this is one of our activity we did, believe last year, if not 2 years ago, where most of us at DYCD will walk across Brooklyn Bridge, and I believe it's going to happen again this year. If it's not raining, but it definitely will happen again this year. And next slide, Dave. This is one of our really young men, I believe, who participate in the Spring into Health, and it's just a wonderful picture over there. All right, and I think we have a lot of, the NABs have a lot of organization, and also city and state providers. Just mentioned two, we had USTA Metro, and also we had SG Next Level Tennis. So we had a lot of organization who partner with and also help us to pretty much success on this event. Thank you very much. Is there any questions?
Yes, hi. Thank you for that excellent report. This is Gideon Dunkley. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. My question to you is, how does this tie into the mayor's new healthcare accountability initiative program?
I'm gonna let that question for Ebony or our Associate Commissioner can answer that question.
So definitely it supports it, right? And so one of the things we did looking at that, we met with Department of Mental Health and Hygiene and basically went through all the community profiles to make sure that for each neighborhood, we were addressing the specific needs of the community individually, whether it was crime and safety, whether it was education, food insecurity. And so it's definitely something that we've been doing for a long time, but we definitely wanted to elevate it in order to support the mayor's vision and initiative.
Thank you. Regarding your flyer, how can members of the community participate? For instance, let's say a community health center who might want to participate in the activities. How can they get involved?
If they want to table?
Yeah, because I'm on the board for sorry, I'm on the board for Marsites Health Center, and they do a lot of outreach for the community in terms of healthcare initiatives. Because, you know, as well in the Bronx, we have hashtag not 62. So we're trying to get away from that 62 because the Bronx is the last, you know, of the health disparity. So so Marsites Health Center is very active in the community in trying to get away from that hashtag 62. So how can community health centers participate in your program?
Send the information to Anita and we will definitely, so what we do is keep a master vendor list. And so wherever we go and whenever we engage with folks, we get the information. And as soon as we launch the campaign, we do a whole orientation. We give all of the vendors the list of where the events are happening, connect them with providers. Anita's team connected all the NABs with some vendors and tablers. So definitely we will want to have you all on our list.
Anita, can you pass on that information for me? I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, Gideon, Morris Heights Health Center did table with me at Bronx 5 on June 10th.
And you didn't tell me?
And I didn't tell you. How could I tell you?
No, well, it's good to know. Thank you for that information.
You're
but
welcome.
make sure they're in the loop, okay?
No, they are.
That.
They are.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that, Anita.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for that excellent report.
Awesome. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you, Ebony. Thank you, Mitch. We greatly appreciate the great work you do, and thank you for your reports. I will now entertain a motion to accept the presentation/report.
Gideon Dunkley, so move.
Gideon, thank you. Seconded by?
Donovan Swanson.
Donovan, thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? So moved. Old business. Quorum reminder. Our next meeting is Thursday, September 7th. And we all know how imperative it is to achieve quorum for us to be able to conduct and do what we need to do. So thank you all for making sure that we had quorum this time, and hopefully it continues. There will be a conflict of interest form that's going to be sent out to the CAB members. Please complete it when received and send it back. New business. The next meeting will be on Thursday, September 7th. And as the summer approaches, I want to wish you all a happy, healthy, and safe summer, a time to spend time and appreciate your loved ones, and to continue to do the outstanding work that you all do to help the members of your community. So thank you very much. Thank you, DYCD, for everything they do and for allowing us to collaborate with you to help the needy people of this city. So thank you very much to all. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. It is now 7:28 p.m. Motion to adjourn.
So
Motion
moved.
to adjourn. Second, Jackie.
Kate
Kate Connolly.
Connolly, seconded by Jackie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays?
Aye.
Anyone abstaining? We are officially adjourned. Have a wonderful summer. Thank you very much.
Good night, yeah. Good night, all.
Thank you.
Aye.
Bye.